What's up, guys? It's Tascione with Academy.fm, and today I'm going to be remaking this Soltan bass from the song Sahara, and we're just going to be making this first one shot here. So this is a pretty complex patch, and we have all four oscillators are being used, comb filters, lots of effects over here. We got hyperdimension, distortion, phaser, filter, EQ, delay, and multiband compression. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to initialize this preset. So first thing we're going to start with is we're going to go to Spectral, we're going to go to Monster 3, and I'm going to take this wavetable around right here. And we're going to drop this down an octave. And then we're going to open up oscillator B, and we're going to drop this down an octave as well. And we're going to turn the unison up to 4 and the detune down slightly. And we're actually going to take the volume down for this because we're going to be using this as frequency modulation, or FM from B. And let's go ahead. I'm actually going to open up basic shapes. And we're going to take this to a saw, and we're going to turn on flip. We're going to take this up to around there, so we get a shape that looks like this. And you're not going to hear anything differently right now, but we're going to turn on FM from B now. So let's go ahead. We're going to set up our envelope 1. We're going to take the decay down to 400 and the sustain all the way down. And we are just going to curve this up like that. So that is going to be our fall off for our volume. And now we're going to start modulating some things. So let's first get our volume automation going. So I'm going to make this LFO2. So we're going to make a shape that looks like this. And this is going to automate our volume. We're going to put this on envelope mode. So now let's make LFO1, and this is going to modulate our FM from B. Alright, so this is essentially the shape we're going to be doing. Alright, so that's the shape. We're going to turn this on envelope mode as well, and we're going to put this on FM from B. Alright. So that's sounding not that great right now, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to mess with this. But let's add the rest of our oscillators as well. So we're going to add our sub oscillator, and we're going to just leave this as the sine, and we're going to put it an octave down and put the level all the way up. And we're also going to put direct out on, so the sub skips all of the filters and effects. So that's a huge game changer right there. It's giving us a nice pure sub. Alright, and let's turn on our noise oscillator, and we're going to go to analog, ARP white, and we're going to turn this, turn the pitch down a little bit, and now we're going to make our third LFO. So we're going to bring this here, and this is going to control our white noise, and we're basically going to just have it like turn on at the end. So we're going to stick this on envelope mode as well, and we are going to just leave a little bit of white noise even when this LFO isn't turning it on, but we're really going to ratchet it up towards the end. You can hear it sort of coming in towards the end. Alright, so that's it for our oscillators. So we're going to turn on our filter, and we're going to go to comb plus. We're going to take this cutoff down pretty far. And we are going to turn the resonance up to around right here. And we're going to have LF2 just boost the resonance up pretty damn high. And we're going to turn on our key tracking, and we're going to take the cutoff to 116. So without the key tracking, it won't sound like that. And what this is going to do is, regardless of where we play it, the cutoff will follow. And that is going to be really useful if we're trying to make like some tonal basses, so we don't have to automate this. This is just going to follow. All right, so that is our bass sound for right now. And we're actually going to make one more adjustment to our oscillators. So we're going to make another LFO, and we're going to give it a shape just like that. And we're just going to put this on the fine tune of oscillator B. And we're going to turn on envelope mode as well. Okay, now on to the effects. Okay, so the first effect we're going to add is hyper in dimension. And this is just going to give us a better stereo image. We're going to turn the mix all the way down, and we're going to take the size down and drive the mix up a little bit. So just making it a little bit wider, a little bit more exciting. So then we're going to turn on distortion, and we're going to bring this to diode 2. And we are going to actually do this post-processing, and we're going to take this up to like a band pass slash like high pass. And I'm going to take this to around 13, and we're going to have LFO1 controlling this. And then we're going to take this mix down to 50 because we still want the lows to come in. So we're really just adding a lot of highs right there. So then we're going to turn on the phaser, and we're going to take this rate all the way down. So we're going to control these parameters on our own manually. We're going to take the depth up to around here. And we're going to take the frequency, we're going to put LFO1 on the frequency, and we're going to just take this range down to around -20, and we're going to bring this knob around 365. We're going to take the feedback down a little bit, and we're going to take the phase down all the way so it's not panning at all. And then we're going to take LFO3, and we're actually going to modulate the mix with that. So the phaser sort of turns on towards the end. So it's giving the tail like a nice little tone to it. All right, so the next effect we're going to add is a high pass filter. So we're going to turn on the filter, and we're going to go to multi, and we're going to use this high peak 12. And we're going to take LFO1 and put it on the cutoff. And take it to around here. We're going to take the cutoff to around 100. Maybe a little less, and then the range to around 30. And we're going to take the resonance up a lot, maybe to around 60. Turn the drive up a little just to give it some boost. All right, and then we're going to take LFO2, and we're going to put this on this frequency knob. We're going to take this all the way up, though. We're going to take this pretty high. And then we're going to just take the range down to around -18. So it's giving us a nice growly sound. And that's going to give us a really nice valley sound. And once we put that into the multiband compressor, it's going to clean it up a lot. All right, so our next effect we're going to add is an EQ. And for this curve, we're going to use a peak. And we're going to take the gain up pretty high, around 17. And we're going to have LFO1 controlling this little peak. We're going to have this bounce around. So we're going to take this frequency down to around here and around 98, and we're going to take the range down to around 27. And that is sounding brutal right now. So I'm gonna add this multiband compressor. We're gonna leave this at the end because this is just sounding insane. So I'm gonna turn on this multiband, and I'm gonna take the threshold down. That is clearing things up a lot. Let's take this ratio up. We're gonna take the attack down and the release down. Take Alright, so we're going to leave this as a shelf for the EQ, and we're going to have LFO1 modulating the gain. So we're going to sort of tame the lows at first, and then we're going to bring them up and bring them back down. So let's take this Q down, and we're going to take this gain down to around here. Take the frequency up a little. Alright, so one of the last effects we're going to add, actually the last effect, is a delay. So we're going to make like a nice tonal delay here. So we're going to turn off BPM, but we're going to link these two, and we're going to take the left and right to 22.52. And we're just going to have LFO3 modulate the mix so that this delay turns on towards the end. Let's go ahead and play with this. I want to bring this cutoff down lower. It's sounding really wimpy. So that is the sound I want. So I was sort of playing around with it, and I was like, you know, it's really not sounding as like guttural and aggressive as I want, especially the more and more you add these effects. But I think it really all comes down to this filter is where it was sort of lacking. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go run through it real quick and just play around with some of these settings, because this is the basic. This is like the basic setup of what you want for this sound. But you can definitely do some fine tuning, because there are a lot of settings in here, a lot of things going on. So you can sort of play around with it until you get what you want. So after playing around with a few settings, you can sort of just tweak things. I think the things that the settings that really do the most here are this cutoff knob and where you put it. Also, you can play around with these filters to get different timbres as well. So if you play around with this cutoff, you can really see. So it's all about finding the right timbre that you're looking for here. But you could go in for hours and tweak these things and create a bunch of different sounds that you want. But let's go ahead. Let's listen to the original. So pretty damn close. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and definitely implement these techniques into your own sounds. But thank you guys for watching. I'm Tascione, and this is Academy.fm.